I'm tired of myself, I'm tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, presented by CW Motorsports, episode 113. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And I set up a little bit of a throwback shot here. We have to kind of crop the video down to fit us both into a side-by-side format, but maybe some of this will make it in there. I've got the refrigerator over my shoulder, so...
Throwback to my old refrigerator shots from my office space.
Exactly. I'm in the dining room. That's how I had to get this one, but it kind of made me feel nostalgic for the Chad office refrigerator setup.
Yep. It's been a while. I went back and looked at some of our old episodes, our first ones. I'm not saying it's bad comical, but it's neat to see the progression anyway. How's that?
And now we're regressing.
Yes, we are.
So eventually we're going to be back in an unheated pole barn, unplugging stuff and actually having to redo shows again.
You remember that one? I don't know that we talked about that too much. I think we briefly mentioned it.
I think it was episode 2 or 3. It was pretty early on in the stack, but yeah, the heater blew the little circuit breaker on your cheap plug strip, and we stopped recording audio, and I don't know. At the time, I think we were still trying to do a half-hour show, and it probably turned out to be 40 minutes anyways, and we had to recreate the entire show.
Yeah, because it killed the power to the soundboard, which was feeding into the laptop.
That's what it was.
And the laptop was still up and going, so we didn't even notice it until we went to check it at the end, and there was nothing. So we redid it all.
That's right, because the laptop was on battery, so it was all still chugging along. That's right. That's why we didn't notice it.
Right. That's been... Is it 2 years?
Yeah, we started in September of 2017, and then, we weren't every week then, but then pretty soon after that we took off every week, kind of I think by mid-October we were doing a weekly episode, so...
Yeah, but that would have been right about 2 years ago, sometime in this area.
Yeah, pretty darn close.
And it was cold. I remember being in your pole barn, and it was cold. That's why we were running space heaters that tripped the power strip.
And we weren't trying to heat the pole barn. We literally had them under our chairs, just trying to throw enough heat under the chair that we could get through an episode.
So that we wouldn't shiver in our voices to try and get it done.
Oh, we were still out there making tie rods for Wolverines and
the Vikings, yep.
Those were the days.
That was something. I remember several nights out there not being able to feel my fingers.
Yes. TIG welding, but can't feel your fingers.
Yeah, when your fingers are numb because they're so cold, yet you're just inches away from a electronic arc that's just heating the part to melting point. That's when you know it's cold.
I remember grinding flats into the bungs so you could get a wrench on them, and they'd be warm when they were done, so I had to stand there and hold them for a little while before I put it down and grab the next one.
Oh, people do, us included, some crazy things.
I don't even want to say good ideas. We just had ideas, and we started doing things with them, so look at us now.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
We just crested Thanksgiving. Today is Sunday, which is kind of our traditional recording day, and I'm thankful we're not in an unheated pole barn doing this show.
Me too. Although I am building it's not a barn, but it's a garage-style building, so yeah.
I saw you had a pad poured, so you're not going to do a pole barn, you're going to do just a framed building?
Yeah, I'm going to do a framed garage-style building is the plans.
Okay.
I have everything ordered, all my lumber package. They're waiting on the trusses, but it might be here this week.
So what size is this
made it
thing?
prior to now. 24 by 36.
Okay, nice.
So, I think that was the size of yours, wasn't it?
Mine was a full 30 by 40, so
Okay.
Just slightly bigger.
Slightly. Mine's going the other way, though. The doors
Gotcha.
are not on the end. They're on what you would look at as the side of the building.
How big are your sidewalls?
10 foot tall.
Nice. Okay, so you can have good-sized doors and everything.
Yep, I'm going to have 8-foot tall doors. That way I can get a lifted truck in. Just never
Nice.
know what the future holds for me.
There will be a thing that'll
I
happen
don't-
at some point, yes.
Yes. I don't plan on parking my truck in there. My dad thinks I'm crazy for not, like, instantly wanting to park a truck in there. I don't really care if I park inside or not. I mean,
When's the last time your dad has parked his truck inside?
oh, he parks it inside every night. He built that new garage, but he has
Oh.
5 vehicles crammed in that garage right now. He has a 30
Okay.
by 40 garage that we
Okay,
built
but
him, and he's got 5
but
vehicles
prior
in
to
it.
that, because that's only been a
prior to
couple
that?
months. Yeah, I never remember seeing him have a truck indoors.
Yeah, like maybe for a little bit, but then my brother would fill up the shed with whatever else he had, and my dad would park outside.
So that's cool, though. I mean,
So-
you're finally going to have a spot where you can work on UTVs that is not your currently cramped attached garage to your house, and the shop really is kind of
Right.
a no-fly zone. I mean, there's always projects and stuff crammed in there, and there's really no room to work. I mean, we shop...
Yeah, they're not opposed to me being over there and working on things, so it's not like I'm not welcome there. It's just
It's hard.
there's their own crap there. And if you guys know anything about a body shop, a lot of the times the projects in there are not like a day in and a day out. They're a week-long project or a couple-week project, and they're normally not real mobile in that time, too.
We did the gear grabber video in the shop, and it was all we could do to find enough space to do that.
Yeah. Basically, we stuck my razor right behind the paint booth because it was the only space in a 72 by 36 pole barn plus an office add-on that we could even fit a like 11-foot long by 6-foot wide razor. You got 72 feet by 36 feet, and you can't fit the crazy thing in there.
Yeah. No, it's... you are way overdue for having your own space. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, well, I hope to get it done. The big thing was getting the concrete down before the ground just became, the weather became unpourable, and we did it. So, hooray.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, that's a big accomplishment, though. I mean, because everything else can kind of be done when you feel like it. If it's cold, it doesn't matter. If you feel like working in the cold, you can do it. But the concrete's a little more finicky.
Right. Yeah, the concrete we got the last nice day was this last Monday, I think. Yeah. And we had a high of 53 and a low of 38 or 40, whatever it actually was. And I told my dad, the Thursday or Friday before, I was like, I'm forming up this weekend. Monday's a poor day because we are out of days. Because I think every day since then we've had rain also. So,
Nice. So,
not nice.
you were thankful for the new building.
I am thankful that I got concrete down and a new building should be showing up in a some assembly required form here in the next week or so.
Well, I've watched a lot of cartoons, and you should be able to have that framed in, like, I don't know, an hour.
Oh yeah. Actually, it won't take all that long to frame it.
Nah.
I can frame that building in a day. I can take another day to set the trusses, and then a little more than a day to get the sheeting and the roof on.
Yeah.
Probably about a day and a half. So, I mean, within a week I can have it like
At least have a shell.
covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's exciting stuff.
yep, that's good. What's going on in your world?
Well, household projects. We've got, the house is by and large done. I mean, you can see I'm sitting here. It's not like there's, scaffolding and torn up walls and that kind of stuff. We're basically done. I got Hannah's room. Hers was the more extensive. She's basically done at this point. I think I've got one little tiny thing to do in there, but and not done like, okay, she's in. Done is in. I'm walking away. I've replaced electrical outlets. I've replaced flooring. We've just, we've done a bunch of odd and end work in there.
Yeah.
So I have yet to move into my office, which is right over there. I was going to do that this past week because Thanksgiving week I decided to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, get a bunch of stuff done. Unfortunately, on the heels of that 2-week trip I took out to Colorado, I got sick as a dog, and it just didn't happen. So I got a lot of stuff done, just not the stuff I was hoping to get done.
Yep.
And then we moved down into the family room. So this is a pretty good-sized house. I mean, if you the main 2 levels are 3,000 square foot, and there's another 800 and change in the basement. So on the main level, it's got a living room that we're leaving kind of formal. Like, there's not even going to be a TV in there. It's just going to be a hangout spot, gathering spot, that kind of thing. The family room behind the garage, I'll have to give a walking tour at some point, but the way it's built is it kind of backs up on the garage. And that room has a tile floor in it, which we were okay with. But it also has a ginormous, disgusting, ugly, hideous entertainment center from the 1980s.
That's that glass and brass one or whatever.
It is all glass, and it's mirrored, and it's got like gold banding across the top of it, and it probably weighs, assembled, no exaggeration, 400 pounds.
Glass and brass.
Possibly even more than that. I might be really light on that, because it's all particle board, so it's super dense, and anyways,
like me.
The thing is terrible. Yes, you're super dense, just like you. So I told Jenny, I said, look, I've been forgiving about a lot of things in this house. There's a lot of cool retro stuff. This is not one of those cool things. We are getting rid of this. So
yeah,
we go out, we find Jenny the couch she wants. We actually got a screaming deal on it. Long story short, we were looking at this couch that had a Chase lounge on one end, and I said, well, if we order it with the Chase lounge on the other end, it'll be perfect because it'll fit the room. She's like, great. We happen to walk by their scratch and dent and clearance room, and there is that couch with the Chase lounge on the correct side for what we need.
Huh. So convenient.
I was like, well, that's a sign. So we just went ahead and bought the thing. We get it home, and I'm like, okay, we're going to move this old entertainment center out and put the new one in and get this room set up. I try and move this thing. I can't budge it. Now, it's on a tile floor, and I know it's heavy, but I'm thinking I should be able to push this thing, right? It doesn't move at all. It doesn't even try and move.
Due to weight or being screwed or nailed down?
Oh, worse. So I start pulling doors off. I start pulling glass shelves out. Anything I can do to cut weight on this thing. I cut probably a couple 100 pounds worth of miscellaneous weight out, go to shove it, does not move. Doesn't even budge. So it's the way it's built, it's got 2 piers on each side, and then it's got the big center section. So the piers kind of are the glass and mirrored shelves, and it's kind of like curio cabinets stuck on the end. So yeah. I start taking the center section apart so I can get to the screws to take those piers off the side. And I get them completely unscrewed, and I get up on a 6-foot ladder, just 2 steps up, so I can grab the top of this thing, because it's probably 7.5. It's almost as tall as the ceiling, so it's almost 8 foot tall.
Right.
I grab it and start to tilt it, and it's still not moving. I'm like,
it's glued to everything.
I'm like, what in the world is going on? So I finally yank on it, and the top breaks free a little bit, but now the bottom's not moving. And Deacon goes, Dad, it's the grout for the tile goes right up to it. And I was like, what? So I looked down there and I looked closer at it. When they tiled the room, they tiled around this thing and then grouted up to it. So nice. As I take this thing out, which it's still in the same spot, I haven't even moved it out of that spot yet, there is going to be a giant entertainment-shaped hole in the tile. Freaking perfect. Thank you so much, whoever did that.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's going to be a thing. We've already figured out how we're going to deal with that situation. But Jenny started freaking out. She's like, we weren't going to put a floor in this room. I said, well, we are now. So get used to that idea. But that room also has the sliding glass door that leads out to the backyard, and it's the door we let the dogs out. So we didn't want them running across nice new carpet if we decided to go that route. So we're going to leave probably about 4.5 to 5 feet of the tile in place, because it forms a walkway between where the kitchen dumps into it and that sliding glass door. It's a perfect strip. And then just carpet the rest of it. So it looks like there's a defined high traffic area, which is exactly what it'll be. So when the dogs come in muddy from the backyard, they're not tracking across carpet.
Yet.
Yet.
They'll get to the carpet in a few steps.
Yes. Well, I could also bury high voltage wires, so that's a possibility. But yeah, I was dumbfounded that this incredibly heavy, incredibly ugly entertainment center was actually tiled to the floor. It was part of the floor.
Nice.
So it's one of those things,
great.
like, what, I buy this couch because it's supposed to be the thing that ends the project, and instead it just spawns a whole different one.
It starts a whole new project.
Isn't home ownership wonderful?
Sure.
Yeah, so that's my life. But I'm thankful that I have this house, and that, like I said, there's nothing major going on. There's no rooms that are inaccessible or anything like that. So,
Right. It's all just changing the coverings of everything, basically.
yeah, exactly. And Jenny's mom bought us this really, really super nice dining room table. Like, it's a 12-person table. It's huge. And
She's really wanting to come over for holidays.
she is. And it's not a cheap table. This is, well, you used to live up here. You know Burkholder Furniture?
Yeah.
They're really, like, heavy, Amish, expensive.
Yeah.
This table,
High-end everything.
yeah, that's what this is.
Nice.
So,
Now she's guilting you into having holiday get-togethers at your place.
yeah, that was kind of the point anyways. So we almost guilted her into the table. We're like, hey, it'd be really nice if we had a place for everyone to sit.
If we had this really nice table, look at this. Burkholder's having a sale.
Wow, it's only $9,000 now. Okay, it wasn't that
Yeah.
bad, but it was pretty salty. But
Yeah.
she's like, well, it's an heirloom quality thing, which it is, so you can hand it down to your kids. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Just get the table.
Yeah. They can deal with it when I'm dead.
Exactly. They can deal with moving this thing. I'm going to tile it to the floor.
Perfect. Run some 4-inch long screws through the legs, too, to hold it down.
You don't want it going anywhere. I mean, you just can't take chances with that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's expensive. Thieves could break in and try and take it.
How could I deal with myself if they had done that?
Put some liquid nails under each foot, too.
No one's ever going to buy this house from me now if they see this video. Fortunately, our viewership is like literally tens of people, so that doesn't eliminate very many. And probably not many of them are local up here, so.
Yeah, you're probably right. Let alone would be buyers in the market for your house at that exact moment whenever you do sell it.
Exactly. So, Sunday Drive, we have finished up the season, which, well, not quite yet.
Well, we finished the normal season. How's that?
We'll do a bonus season ender,
There is
like the Bolivia special from Top Gear.
There is a bonus special edition one coming. I think I alluded to it in another episode. You had mentioned it, I know, Doug. We've had several people asking us, why don't you run the track? Honestly, when we started Sunday Drive, I never even thought about running the track. I mean, like, I knew I would drive around on it, but I never thought about driving the Razor and timing it to see how my time would stack up.
Yeah.
It just, it was for the other racers. That was the point.
Exactly.
So, I never thought about that, really, until other people started bringing it up, saying, well, why don't you run it? And our whole time we were doing all this, we kept saying, the problem is, to get everything set up, it takes time, like all the cameras, and Doug and I both coordinating schedules and all that, and when it's a filming day, we really don't have the extra time to do it, necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably could, but our time is better spent doing other things. So we just never did. Doug and I got to talking after the season, the final filming day was, that said, well, maybe we'll run it, when you're down or something, and just the weather turned.
Yeah.
Real quick.
We did that whole Midwest summer to winter immediate thing.
Yeah. So I highly doubt Doug is going to get to run it. Not that I'm opposed to him running it if we do have a freak nice day and he is in the area. I'm just saying, by how the weather is, reference my concrete comments earlier, I don't think you're going to get a clean day to run it.
Probably not. I'm going to be down there in a couple weeks in the middle of December, and if we get a freak 50-degree day and it's reasonable out, I'll do it. But I don't know what the weather is going to be. It could very easily be like 16 degrees and snowing. So,
And the problem is we've had a lot of rain too, and this time of year, especially with the freeze and the thaw, it'd just be mud, and you wouldn't even turn a reasonable lap time.
Yeah, especially since reminder for everybody who has seen the show and forgotten or hasn't seen it yet, the 4-wheel drive didn't work for the first filming, so we made everybody run in 2-wheel drive after that.
And 2-wheel drive. But to get on with our story, there was just a freak day about 3 weeks ago now, maybe it's 4 weeks ago now. There was a freak day where it was really nice out. It wasn't super muddy. There was, it was a little slimy. We had some leaves on the ground. It was fall, so it made it a little slick. But I was like, I think this is my last chance. And looking at my schedule, I was saying, I think this is my last chance to run it. And it has been. So I'm going to run it. I got my son back here just tapping on dishes.
I can hear it.
Because he thinks it's funny.
Live television,
Anyway.
Folks. Well, not live by
Yeah.
the time you see it, but you know what we mean.
So I just was like, okay, I don't have time to go through and set up all the GoPros. Doug is not anywhere in the area. I don't have time. And it was coming down to like, okay, the rain is coming in a couple hours. It's I get in it now and do it, or I don't do it this year. So no cameras set up. The only camera I had was I strapped my Hero 7 on the machine so that I could get an accurate lap time, because we have found that is the absolute most accurate way to get a lap time. I bought a lap timer and everything else. The GoPro is a more accurate way to get lap times.
Exactly.
Because the amount of frames it does and how many frames it does per second is just more accurate. But anyway, so I'm not going to give away what my time is or anything else. I'm just going to release it as a bonus extra one. You don't get all the fancy footage of, Doug catching people ripping through the field at high speeds and everything else. You're only going to get an in-car shot looking straight forward, and that's all I could get time for. So
Gotcha. Yeah, even when I'm there, it's a pretty lean production crew. It's basically me.
Yeah.
Filming
It's
and some GoPros.
Doug's out in the woods, and I'm there at the start/finish line coordinating the takeoff, and Doug and I are on two-way radios talking back and forth. Okay, you ready? Yep, go ahead and send him. All right. And I send him, and Doug gets a shot from one spot, and then he zips over to another spot and gets them, and then another spot and gets them, and he kind of jumps different places in the track the way I've designed it so that he could get through and get different shots, and that's what we did.
My favorite comment this season was Michael Plank going, "Man, Doug gets around out there. It's like I see him in one corner, and I drive a little bit more, and there he is at another corner, and it's like I'm out there I'm out there spooking him."
It's like a deer.
Exactly.
We did have a ton of fun. I think everybody that came out had fun running it.
Absolutely.
I think the common thread that every person who raced that thing or ran it, I'm not saying it was a race, but every person who ran it said they forgot how much work it was to drive one of those.
Exactly. It's a whole different machine. And not just the lack of power steering or the steering quickener and that kind of stuff. The brakes are worse. I mean, it's a lighter machine because there's not much stuff in it, but the brakes aren't as good either. And the throttle, I mean, everyone's used to tuned throttle response and fuel injection. I mean, this thing is carbureted, and if you listen to the videos, it's basically an on-off switch. Like, there's very little in between floored and idle.
Yeah. But I mean, for a race machine, that it's fine.
Yeah. But it definitely makes you work, and it makes you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my laps, and it wasn't my fastest one. It was my last lap. So I'll tell you guys that my middle lap was my fastest. I only ran 3 laps, just like everybody else. I was not going to give myself any advantage over anybody else. I wanted to just see. But my last lap, because everybody kind of, and I'm the same, we start off at a reasonable pace so we know we can put in a lap. Then we push a little bit harder to try and get a little faster. And then the last lap, I'm going to push as fast as I think I can do it without crashing.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that, and on the last one, wet leaves, I just slid all over the place. I was sliding off the edges of the track, and I didn't put in a horrible lap time, but it was not my fastest.
Gotcha.
So it was fun. I mean, I'd be game for doing it again next year. Definitely starting earlier in the season. We started late last year
Dude,
just because of the
the
availability
weather,
of the buggy and everything
yeah,
else.
and the weather would not let up. I mean, it just
Oh
would.
no.
It was a mud hole out there until what, the end of May.
Yeah, and then we had dust.
Yeah.
Just dust, dust, dust.
So
So,
I guess that's part of why I brought up the season was I was curious about getting some feedback through this show as well if people want to see a second season. The numbers would indicate that there is some interest out there, but we definitely
but
need a
not
strong
much.
Yeah, not a ton. So we need a strong showing of people who are willing to be Sunday Drive ambassadors. If you're telling us, yeah, we want to see more, that's great. But hit the pavement and try and peddle the product for us, and we will be happy to do a second season because we've got more than enough racers, and we've got more than enough, things we can stick up our sleeve to make the show more interesting. Plus, I think people probably are interested in me laying down a lap at some point. In my heart, I want to believe that I'm fairly competitive. In my head, I'm going to be near the bottom, but we'll see how that goes.
So the crazy thing is, I was looking at times today as we released the last official one, the last normal one today. I was looking at times. Man, a lot of these guys are just really close on their times.
Yeah.
There is this, like, Matt Rowell and Steve Mueller and Devin Smith are kind of up near that quicker time. And why Steve Mueller got there, I don't know. He's kind of one of those reserve drivers, but apparently he can turn it on when he needs to.
I don't think Steve is quite as reserved as we think he is. I mean, he's definitely cautious. And Steve, I know you're listening to this. You just had a really slow machine the past year and a half, 2 years. I'm curious to see what you're going to do with this new Pro XP.
Yeah. But then you get the other guys, and these are all guys that we know pretty well, and we know that they race, and they race vastly different machines. Some of them are in big turbo cars, some are in RS1, some are in little 900s. We're talking like a spread of a second between 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, that's really tight lap times.
That's really remarkable.
Yeah. And I think that's what I had hoped to see, but it's good to see that it actually happened like that. Because you see guys like Ryan Kunkel who runs a 900. It's nothing amazingly fast at all. He hasn't done a ton of work to that machine to make it really fast. And he's running right there with guys like Barry Miller and Devin Smith who run big X3 turbo machines and stuff like that. I mean, it's just... It really is the machine that separates a lot of these guys, and I'm not saying... I mean, once you get to a certain level, once you're a driver who knows how to drive. So, it was neat to see that a lot of people were really close. Cody Willenborg, I'm pretty sure ended up at the bottom, but he wrecked his lap.
Yes, he did.
On his one and only lap, he tagged that tree, but honestly, he still put in a respectable lap time. He wasn't far off of anybody else.
No, and but for that accident, he would have been significantly
really
higher
quick.
up there. Yeah. But that's the thing about racing. You can't just be fast. You have to be clean, especially in XC racing. There's no forgiveness,
Oh, no.
In a dirt bike or a quad, I mean, you can wreck just as easily, but you usually can avoid it and kind of, turn it into a glancing blow. A lot of times, if a UTV starts sliding or starts doing something you don't want, you're just kind of along for the ride at that point. There's just so much more weight that you're dealing with.
Yeah, and once they start sliding, and especially if you've overcooked a corner, there's not much you can do. I mean, you're just trying to minimize the damage, minimize the amount of slide off, but you're going for a ride.
Exactly.
So yeah, whereas like dirt bikes, like you said, even a single track space on a track, which they don't normally XC race on. Normally they're racing on the same track that like the quads are. You put a dirt bike on a quad track, there's a bunch of extra room in there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So, yeah, and UTVs there just isn't. So, I mean, when you overcook it, you're sliding into things.
You've got to be super clean. There's very little forgiveness out there. So, I thought the lap times and the closeness of them were interesting as well. But honestly, the thing that made me smile the most was seeing the smiles on the guys' faces as they were talking about the laps as they were comparing notes, as they were ribbing each other. They were having fun, which really is what this is all about anyways.
Yeah, I think it was Ryan Kunkel who shared the post today, and he just said, thanks for making racing fun again. And that, he doesn't mean it in a fact that normal racing isn't fun, because it
Right.
is. But I think what they were going for, and I completely understand it, because anyone who's done XC racing, especially in the UTV, is it gets expensive, it gets tedious towards the end of the season that you're just maintaining and trying to keep the machine going. Whereas this event, where we would have these guys out, we had them out in groups of 4 or 5 or whatever, it was kind of like, just come out, hang out, drive a machine that's already prepped, and just rib your fellow racers, have some fun, hang out, and do whatever.
Exactly.
And that's kind of, I think that's what, it just made it for a fun hangout day for the guys that got to come out, to just be able to do that, instead of worrying about, I've paid this much in entry fees, and I've spent this much money to try and get my machine ready, and I can't wreck it because I have a race next weekend or whatever. I'm in points battle with whoever. It was all just hanging out, having fun, just to have a good time.
Exactly. So that's, if people want to see more of that, we are willing to do another season, but it's not set in stone yet. So we really need to hear back from you, and we really need to know that you are interested and willing to share videos and try and get other people to watch and that sort of thing. Because while it is entertaining, it's also a ton of work and scheduling.
Yeah, the production work to get that thing ready. Oh, even after we've already cut down all the clips and got everything kind of assembled into some small fashion, I'll bet I spend 3 hours getting everything kind of cut together into a show format.
Yeah. Not to mention, it's
just
expensive. I mean, what we're doing here, this podcast, Eminent Waste of Time, is basically a freebie at this point, other than our time to do it. We've had some generous sponsors that have helped out, and that's made this possible. But Sunday Drive is definitely not free.
Right, because like you guys at Race know, we're maintaining the machine. I'm going through and buying arrows and stakes and whatever else, and then prepping the track for days before to try and make sure it's a good clean surface for everyone and as even and as fair as everybody can have it. So
And
yeah,
we're just lucky that we're lucky you own a bulldozer and a tractor with a bucket on the front and all the other equipment to do it. I mean, it's not like that stuff, it's free in the sense that your family owns it, but it still costs something to use it. And so it's an expensive production for us. And so we want to bring sponsors on board to do a second season, but we need to have a reason they would be interested in it. It's the best way to put it. We need to be able to go to them and say, hey, look at this. Do you want to be on board?
Yeah, and I do want to give a shout out to the two main sponsors, the two sponsors that stepped up and did help us with it. CW Motorsports, they stepped up and they helped us with the buggy for that one, and North Star Hardwoods, out there, Will Lucina, out in Iowa. He came to me and he said, I really like what you guys are doing for the whole UTV racing industry. I know you're starting Sunday Drive, because we were talking about it at that point. He just said, what can I do to help?
Yeah. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
Because, without disclosing numbers or anything else, cameras aren't free, that kind of stuff. It's a real cost to that, like a real dollar amount cost. And without those guys, I don't think we could have done anywhere near the production value. And I'm not saying it was perfect, but we couldn't have come anywhere close to it.
No. So big thank you to our sponsors that Chad just mentioned. Definitely couldn't have done it without you, but we also want to respect your time and your money, and so we want to make sure that this is something that moving forward is going to continue to grow if we're going to do it again. So there's the challenge to everybody who says they love it. You got to put your money where your mouth is, or your time, or annoy your friends with it. Whatever you want to do to help grow the thing, awesome.
Right. So, Doug, we've already been talking for like 30-something minutes.
Sounds about right.
It is Thanksgiving time. Yeah. It is Thanksgiving time. So, Doug and I were talking about this, and I'll ask Doug first, and then I will answer the question. what are you thankful for in the UTV world? It can be something that's this year. It can be something that you're just in general thankful for, and it doesn't have to be one thing. Give me a couple.
Honestly, the thing I'm probably the most thankful for looking forward into 2020. So I'm going to do mine as a thankful forecasting forward. I mean, this past year has been amazing. Okay, I'm lying. We're going to start backwards. I'm really thankful for the fan base we have. I'm really kind of humbled by what came out in that 100th episode where people
that was amazing.
Just went above and beyond for us. And that honestly kind of spurred me on because I was in the transition period up here. I didn't even get to go to Heartland Challenge this year, which really made me sick to my stomach, but I just did not have the time to get down there. And to see that, it just kind of renewed my desire to keep moving forward with this because it means something to people. And I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah.
Looking forward, honestly, I'm really thankful for the short course series that's coming up. I mean, with the death of the Lucas Oil Midwest short course series, I mean, this isn't going to fill the same hole in that you're not going to have
You're not going to have the Kyle Cheneys and the Greaves and all
the
those
Wellers.
guys.
I mean, yeah, you're not going to have them coming out running this thing, but I think it still fills a hole, and I really like the fact that somebody stepped up and said, nope, we've got the facility for this, and we are going to do short course. And I think it's just one more way that we talk a lot about XC racing, but I think it's one more way we can get people interested in UTV racing. Well, there's a different option now. And if they see good turnouts, they may expand that, or maybe somebody else that has an off-road park may say, hey, you know what? Let's go in together, and now we'll have 2 locations, and we'll bounce back and forth between them. Pardon me. I mean, it's impossible to say how big just that first season could get. I mean, down the road, that could be 3 or 4 different locations, and it could be a real series. You never know. You've got to start somewhere. And I'm just really appreciative that somebody was willing to step up and actually start something.
Yeah. No, I agree. So I guess my answer to the same. I also want to say, man, the 100th episode stuff that all you guys did, the guys who took the time to make videos and send them in, and Steve for kind of coordinating that whole thing. And I had no idea it was coming, any of that. I had no idea that they were going to have a banner up at the Heartland Challenge, and they work with Andy Kiner. So, big thanks to AXCC for allowing the guys who are our fan base to just put all that stuff up and take that time out of their race schedule that day, because that's a big production in itself, the Heartland Challenge. And they took time out of that to mention us, have me up there on the stage and present the trophy that the guys had made and everything else, and recognize us and give us a few minutes to kind of just say what we're all about. So big thanks to AXCC for that, and I think we're going to try and get Andy Kiner back on here not too long, kind of give us a wrap-up of his whole season.
Absolutely.
I know he's been super busy, but, so the 100th episode thing was amazing. I am thankful for forced induction.
Fair enough.
I like my turbo. And, yeah, going forward, I really want to try that short course series out. My machine is not ideally set up for it currently, so I'm going to try and get some stuff set up for it. So that'll be fun. I've been in talks with some other racers about some other things that may work out for me in the reasonably near here future, so that could be exciting, but I'm not going to let that cat out of that bag. But I think that even goes back to just our fan base. They're looking out for us as much as we're looking out for them. They're appreciative of what we do. I couldn't tell you how many times I've had guys say, hey, I'm thankful for everything you guys do for the sport. You guys are doing everything you can to bring light to it, to help grow the sport, and to do all that. And that's really what we're doing. I mean, I enjoy seeing it sounds stupid, but every little subscriber that just pops on there and it says, oh, you have a new subscriber, we see that, and I'm like, that's awesome. Exactly. Somebody else actually liked it enough to subscribe and want to see the stuff that we're doing. So I'm thankful for that.
I'm just thankful.
And my family. My wife's yelling at me, why aren't you thankful for your family, from the other room?
Nice save. I'm thankful that you haven't killed yourself yet, so that's another thing I'm thankful for.
I'm thankful for that too.
I was just curious. I just jumped on our YouTube channel. We have 266 subscribers, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot, but that's 266 people that actually like the content we're producing enough that they want to be notified of when things come up. I mean, there's probably more people than that watch stuff periodically, but maybe they don't subscribe. I'm the type of YouTube person, I would rather type in the name of the place and go there and check. Yeah. I hate subscribing, so I'm kind of the worst spokesperson for asking people to subscribe.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I will subscribe just because there may be something that I like, and otherwise I think I'd miss it.
Yeah, but I just think it's, to me, that's absolutely astounding. I mean, we started off literally with nothing. I mean, nobody knew who we were, and, through careful cultivation, we still have most of our nothing.
Very true. You know what? There's bigger channels out there than us, even bigger UTV channels. But you know what? While I would like to grow and I would love to get to that space someday, I'm not going to sell out who I am or what I think or my opinions for that. It's not worth it to me.
Agreed.
I hear dogs.
Yes, there's Rory imagines people knocking at the door. Like, about every hour, he barks and runs to the front door like something's there, and then he's all disappointed that nothing actually happened. So
it's like your dog's been to Nam and he's got PTSD.
It kind of is that way.
All right, we've done enough serious stuff, I think. So I have trivia for you. Well, we talked about what we were thankful for. Yeah. There was like 5 minutes of serious in there.
Good point. Fair enough.
All right, so I have trivia for you. It's been a while since you've done trivia, hasn't it?
Yeah, we skipped an entire episode because we literally had nothing, and I was trying to travel to Denver, and it wasn't going well. And then you did the next couple episodes because you had some things going on down there, so it made sense for you just to run while you had the ride and shoot. And then we had Steve on last week to talk about his new Pro XP and kind of his move forward into next year. So yeah, it's been.
But I think it even had been a couple episodes before that where we just hadn't done trivia. And I got some messages from people saying, bring back the trivia.
No, we did it in episode 110, and I actually...
Oh, did we?
I think I got like maybe 4 or 5 out of 10.
I think I might be softening up because Steve did good on trivia too. Maybe I'm making it too easy.
Well, I hate tipping my hand here because I don't want it to get weird again, but you're choosing like more sane stuff instead of, pig farts and whatever.
Oh, we're going back to the pig farts. Not today, but soon.
Fantastic. How many liters of carbon monoxide or whatever do cows belch in a day? Or was it methane? That's what it is.
Yeah. So we don't have that today, but because it is Thanksgiving time and we're going to call this our Thanksgiving episode, I have Thanksgiving themed trivia for you.
Fantastic.
Yes. My wife is yelling from the other room, that was my idea, which it was. I didn't say that I came up with the idea. I said I had Thanksgiving-themed trivia.
Thank you, Brandy.
All right, here we go. Question number 1, are you ready?
As I'm ever going to be.
Okay. How many calories on average are consumed per Thanksgiving meal? Okay. And I know this varies depending on how much is eaten and what is served, so it is a pretty wide range here.
Okay, are we talking like average individual, or are you talking on how much is the average meal, like the whole meal combined?
For an individual, how many calories does an individual eat at a Thanksgiving meal? My wife is yelling her answers from the other room as normal, but I can't say them because then it would give Doug hints.
I'm going to go 2,400.
You are grossly under, and my wife was on the low side of being right. 3,000 to 4,500.
Holy freaking crap, dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if that takes into account like the actual meal and then the grazing afterwards, because I was thinking just the sit-down portion, but...
I think it's probably just a sit-down portion if you add in like pumpkin pie or whatever dessert you're doing too.
Wow, that's pretty nuts. Okay. I mean, I can see it. I'm honestly, I'm not a huge eater anymore, so 2,400 sounds like a lot to me.
It is, considering like around 2,000 is what an average adult is supposed to eat per day
Yeah. So double it up and you got Thanksgiving. One meal.
for one meal.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
All right. Question number 2. What percentage of Americans celebrate Thanksgiving?
Well, we got to discount the Native Americans because I'm pretty sure they're not hip on it.
I don't know. They were there at the first one.
Yeah, just the first one.
You don't think they're thankful that we took their land?
Probably not so much. In fact,
Okay.
if you've ever seen the show Longmire, it takes place in theory it takes place in Montana, and there's an Indian reservation, and they said, yeah, we call that Thanksgiving. So
I have not seen it.
And then people who just don't care, yada yada yada. I'm gonna go still probably pretty high, like 70%.
It is higher than that, 96%.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
There's
That's a lot.
that surprises me with all the crazies out there that have. Maybe there's just not as many crazies in this country as the media would have us believe. Maybe that's the problem.
No, I think the media over-represents them.
I think so.
Is the best way to put it.
Well, yeah, the loud voice, so they get the most coverage. But okay, 96%. I feel better about things now.
Yeah. Question number 3. How many turkeys are killed each year for Thanksgiving?
300 million people in the U.S. 96% celebrate it. Turkey for Thanksgiving. Let's go 150 million.
46 million.
Okay, there. I was over for once.
Yeah. Well, you got to think, people don't eat as much turkey as you would think on Thanksgiving. Like, they'll have a little slab of it.
Yeah, and I mean, one 18-pound turkey is probably, that's 10 to 12 people right there. So
Oh, yeah. Easy. So,
that's a
46
lot in one day.
that's a lot. Well, I'm sure they don't kill them all in one
No,
day.
they
at the
do.
same
It's like
place.
Christmas Eve, but Thanksgiving Eve. It's just this mass murder.
They just run the turkeys through like this saw blade that's mounted just at neck height.
Exactly.
little conveyor belt.
We've only got 26 million done. Got to step on it.
Turn the conveyor belt up. Oh, okay. We went down a dark road there.
That got
There's
dark.
nothing funny down that road. Let's back out. All right, question number 4. 73% of adults agree that this is the best part of hosting Thanksgiving.
The fact that anybody that brings beer has to leave it there because the host rules are once it touches the host fridge, it becomes host property.
You're close, but I'm gonna.
I get a half an internet point.
I'll give you half. It's the leftovers. Getting to keep the leftovers.
Sweet. See, I was thinking about that, but my family kind of divvies them up. Like we force people to take stuff home with them.
But I bet more stays at the host house than anything.
Probably on average.
Yep. All right, question number 5. How many more home cooking fires occur on Thanksgiving than on a normal day?
Is this a number or percentage?
It is a multiple of.
Okay. Oh, it's going to be high because there's not like 25 times more.
No, it's only 3 times more.
Oh. I don't have faith in people. Well,
No, you don't.
Back when the fryers were a thing, because they stopped selling them, but I'll bet back when they were a thing, that my number was pretty close.
No, they started selling them again now.
Oh, did they? Because I know for a couple of years they couldn't be found.
Right. Every year the news does a thing about the fryers, and I always chuckle. A local fire department did a demonstration where they had 2 firemen drop a turkey in boiling oil, and it catches fire, and they do it out in a field to kind of show.
Yeah.
And
if you drop a
the
completely
friend of mine-
frozen bird in like a moron, yes.
Right, and they have the pot completely full of boiling oil, and the friend of mine who posted it, he is He's a volunteer fireman too. But he said, I posted on his thing, I was like, if people are stupid enough to drop a frozen turkey into a 100% full like tub of boiling oil and expect it not to catch fire, they deserve to have their house burnt down.
That's kind of dark, but yeah, I suppose.
I mean, if you're that dumb, you shouldn't be operating anything with fire ever.
Probably not.
So, all right. Question number 6: what year was the first Thanksgiving celebrated? History, Doug. You should know this. I didn't know it, but you should know it.
I don't, and I'm guessing it's probably later than one would think. I'm just gonna pick a completely random date. 1853.
No, 1621.
Really?
Yep.
I was thinking.
Not as late as you would think.
Yeah, I was thinking it was much later for some reason.
Because Columbus came over in 1492.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't 130 years-ish after.
Well, I mean, I knew that when the first Thanksgiving took place, but for some reason I was thinking it wasn't like a thing until much later after that, but there you go.
Well, it was not declared a national holiday until much later.
That's probably what I was thinking.
So, question number 7 is actually very close to that. It's not when was, what president, though, declared Thanksgiving a national holiday? It was not Barack Obama or Bill Clinton.
It wasn't?
Or Donald Trump. No.
Well, since it was done... Okay, 1600s... Oh, no, I think I do know this. It was George Washington.
No, sir.
What?
It was Abraham Lincoln declared it a national holiday.
Really?
Yep.
Hold on, I'm Googling that because I think you're wrong.
Okay, go ahead, Google. Are you Googling it now, and would you like me to wait? Is the question.
Oh, no, we're doing this now. I want vindication. Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Bam. Okay, if Wikipedia is to be believed, this will be the official answer.
Can't believe Wikipedia. Never can believe Wikipedia.
Okay, Thanksgiving has been celebrated nationally off and on since 1789 with a proclamation by George Washington after request by Congress. Thomas Jefferson chose not to observe the holiday, and its celebration was intermittent until President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a national day of Thanksgiving and praise. Okay.
Boom.
But George Washington did make a national proclamation.
In other words, he said, "It's Thanksgiving."
Okay, well, that's how I took the question.
Well, you took it wrong, because I asked you.
Okay, fine, whatever.
All right, question number 8. How long is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Like,
entirely too long.
How long is the route? No. Well, yes. I don't watch it, ever. No. But how long is the route?
How many miles?
Yes.
I don't know. I've never seen the parade. I've seen like 5 minutes of it in my entire life, I think. 16 miles.
Nope. 2.65 miles.
I'm just throwing random numbers out there. Can you imagine a 16-mile parade in New York? This city
That's
would
the Martinsville.
This city would just implode.
Fall foliage parade.
What's that?
That's the Martinsville Fall Foliage Parade.
Ah, gotcha. Sorry, you broke up there for a second.
That thing is stupid long.
So it's 2-point-something miles?
Well, I don't know. The amount of time it takes is generally about 4 hours.
Jeez, Pete. Yeah,
a couple of years ago, it went on for like 6, I think. It was stupid.
Yeah, I can't imagine. No. Anyways, next.
So, yes, next. Moving on. Question number 9. What percentage of Americans eat their Thanksgiving meals at a restaurant?
Okay, so 96% people
observe it.
observe
So they are part of that 96% that do celebrate it yet they're eating it at a restaurant and not eating it like at someone's home.
23%.
Nope, you are high. It is 9%.
Okay, so that's pretty low. It's kind of like the
Yeah,
Christmas
it's-
dinner in a restaurant thing. I know some people do it, but it's not like a big thing.
Right. My wife is yelling, "That's wrong." Anyway.
Well, like her family
Question
owned a
number 10.
restaurant or something.
Well, yeah. So, all right. Question number 10, last one. How many questions are answered by the Butterball Hotline per year about Thanksgiving turkeys and how to cook them?
Oh, well, they do 46 million a year.
Well, but
Turkeys.
not all of those
Not all
turkeys
those
are
are
Butterball.
Butterballs. But a good
And
percentage
not all
of
those
them are.
people need to call in.
I don't know. It's 1.8 million.
No, you are high. 100,000 questions a year, 100,000 calls a year is about what they take.
That's really surprisingly low.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, if you're in charge of cooking, you already know how to cook.
Hopefully.
Like if you're in charge of it for Thanksgiving.
Well, and
But there are those 100,000 people that have no idea.
And honestly, I mean, most people are going to jump on Google if they don't know what they're doing. They're not going to take the time to call.
Right.
Like, that's a decidedly kind of older person thing to do.
Very true.
Okay, so I don't know Thanksgiving at all is what we've just established.
You got half an internet point at
I
least.
got at least, I'm going to go probably 3/4 because I want a quarter for the George Washington answer.
But that wasn't true.
It was true.
No, you get no point for that.
Fine, whatever.
I am being very strict on that one. You said the wrong president.
Okay, I know how to eat and I know how to make a mean turkey. That's really the only important things to me.
You don't want mean turkeys.
This one you do.
Well, they're fighting turkeys? Or are
Fighting
they like in a
turkeys.
fighting
Yes.
ring?
Yes. There are two of them on the grill at the
Okay.
same time duking it out.
Okay there, Michael Vick.
They're self-tenderizing. Okay, unrelated to Thanksgiving, but only because it happened to happen, this past weekend. So the Crimson Tide, Alabama, lost their second game this season. They lost to the Auburn Tigers.
Yep.
So, for those of you keeping score, that they've lost to the LSU Tigers, the Auburn Tigers, and then they also lost to the Tigers in the national championship game at the beginning of 2019. So that means they've lost to Tiger teams 3 times this year. And somebody posted on Facebook, and I was absolutely dying. They said, "I'll bet Nick Saban can't walk past a box of Frosted Flakes right now without losing his crap."
That's pretty good.
So I'm thankful for that because, everybody needs to be brought down a notch from time to time.
Yep. So I kind of have a stupid thing with Chad, although it wasn't even me that did it. So we're driving home from church today, and my daughter's in the back seat of my truck, and my wife is posting. They, not me, not we even. My children have put up the Christmas tree already, and the cats are eyeing it very hard. Like, one of these days we're going to come home and that tree's just going to be in pieces on the floor.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to happen, so whatever. So my wife made some Facebook post, and Steve Mueller already had replied to it and everything else, and so my daughter's looking at it and said something, and her statement out of her mouth was, "Wait, Steve and Cody are 2 different people?"
What? Hi, my name's Steve, but people call me Cody.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, you've met them both. You didn't realize they were different people.
That's
No, not really.
pretty fantastically amazing.
Yeah, I was like, they don't even look alike.
How did
They
that?
don't.
Why did she think that? Did she give you?
I
an
don't have any
explanation?
idea. Not really. Yeah, and she thought Steve was my boss.
That's a terrifying proposition right there, to be perfectly honest.
Yes, it is. Oh, I can only imagine the amount of cat memes that would be sent in that business email address.
Nothing productive would get done at all.
No.
No.
Well, something, maybe.
Probably not. Well, on that note, we're cresting the hour mark, and we really didn't have anything to talk about, so we can still fill a show. That's good to know. We do want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Of course, our title sponsor, CW Motorsports. If you need anything for a UTV, especially a Polaris UTV, they are the ones to go to. And I know you guys have had some Black Friday specials. Chad, I'm kind of directing this your way.
Yes, the Black Friday sale is officially over. We were offering $500 off engine and transmission orders.
Dude, that's
which is actually a great
deal.
But you have already missed it at this point.
Aww.
But we are offering a holiday sale where we have our off-road jack, the Pro XP neutral bypass system, and a couple other things. Definitely check us out on Facebook. You'll find that flyer there. So there's still some holiday sales to be had.
There you go. Good stuff and things. Can you fit an engine and transmission in a stocking? I don't know, but you can try if you need one.
It depends how big your stockings are.
That's very true. Also want to shout out to Watch Communications, who is hosting this mess. If you live in rural parts of Indiana or Ohio or parts of Illinois now and need internet access, they can probably hook you up. In fact, they just moved into the Evansville area, so they did an acquisition down there and have expanded down that way. Also, if you need hosting, the code Waste of Time, all lowercase with no spaces, will get you 10%. No, it gets you 1 month of free hosting. And
does it?
I think so. Yes.
I think I messed that up last time then.
Yeah, you probably did.
There's a high probability that I messed a lot of things up.
It'll get you an amount off of a quantity, which is better than not getting an amount off a quantity.
It's like a Black Friday sale all year long.
Exactly, and all you have to do is own up that you watched this mess. Also wanted a big shout out to TGM Off-Road, who I think they're probably done doing rides for the season, but there's going to be a lot of good stuff going on there in 2020. Again, just a great group of guys and gals who love UTVs, they love riding, they love cooking, they love giving each other crap, and sending terrible birthday memes on their birthdays.
And today is Rob's birthday.
There's
plenty of those flying.
Yes, so it'll be a couple days past by the time this gets out, but thank you. I did want to say a big happy birthday to Rob Griffin. Yeah, there's nothing I can say that hasn't already been posted in a meme, so just happy birthday. And
that wouldn't be censored.
Yeah, I'm trying to. We got to keep the show PG. We can't do anything wildly inappropriate. So, also Spang's Fab. We're running some of the stuff on Chad's machine, and if you go out to a UTV race in the Midwest, chances are you're going to see several machines with his stuff on there, whether it's rock sliders or lower control arms or radius rods or a full cage or whatever you need. He's going to hook you up. Makes great stuff. Outstanding build quality. You could roll it over multiple times, which we've put to the test with some of our racers, and they still come back fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com, on YouTube /Eminent Performance, on Facebook and Instagram, Eminent Racing, because we still can't get the Eminent Performance name because somebody will not let it go.
Let it go.
They haven't.
Let it go.
Whoa. I did not expect that to happen from you.
Speaking of YouTube, if you look down below us, if you are watching it, there's a subscribe button. Go ahead and click that, and that will, obviously, you will subscribe to our channel. And there's a little bell right next to it down there, and that will then notify you whenever we do post new stuff like the Sunday Drive or more episodes of Eminent Waste of Time.
And you can find the audio versions of this on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you find podcasts. We're probably floating around there because they all kind of aggregate from one another. But if you could take a second, especially on the bigger platforms like iTunes and Google, and just leave us a thumbs up, a like, leave a short review of the show, anything like that helps spread the word. We really appreciate that as well.
Yep.
That's all the stuffs and the things?
That's it, and we have wasted another hour of our lives and yours.
That is fantastic. It's good to know that with no content, we can still make an hour work.
Hey, now, we didn't have no content. We were thankful for things.
For 5 minutes. Okay, we had 5 minutes of content.
Don't tell the peoples.
No, that's enough of that mess. All right, and no matter how much of somebody else's life you've wasted today, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Screwing up. Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Deep